Okay, so for a while now, I've been wanting to do a video on how relevant mileage is in these older Mercs. And as luck would have it, Bella bought in a beautiful old Merc, a 230E 124 yesterday. And I have another 124 here at my place. And they polar opposites, these cars. The one that Bella bought in has done no less than, let me just double check what it is. Let's have a look here. It's done no less than 378,367 kilometers. The car has a full service history. It was obviously meticulously maintained and looked after by the previous owner, and it reflects as such. The other car has done only 187,000 Ks and doesn't have a complete history. Well, it's got a history up to about 160,000. But it belonged to an elderly lady and she just didn't have the cash to maintain it for the last 4 or 5 years. And I'll go through the condition of the two cars. And though the one that Bella bought is double the mileage, it's interesting to see the condition, and it makes you realize that it's down to regular maintenance and just careful ownership and taking care of what you've got. Okay, so here we go. Here's the two. Now the white one over there is a E200, I think, from 94. It's done 187,000 K, somewhere around there. I'll go to the car now and we'll look. This over here is a 91 230E that my daughter bought in yesterday, and this is done. Let's have a look here. Open it up. Let's have a look. This is done no less than 378,000. The general condition of this car doesn't look at all like that. Look at the driver's seat. There's not a tear in it. The center console is not bad at all. It has the original Becker. Every single window works in the car. The aircon works. The upholstery is perfect. Has the rubber overlay mats, the original ones. It's actually an invoice in the service book where these were bought in 91. Absolutely no rust on the car. Miraculously, the original wheel caps are still there and haven't ended up on some quantum somewhere. A couple of things wrong with the car that we've picked up. It needs a few tires in the front. It needs a ball joint. The duo valve here that controls the two sides of the heating, that's failed, so we're going to be replacing that. But the aircon's on, and as I say, there's absolutely no rust. And the paintwork is surprisingly good. You've got the odd scuff mark like that over there, which is understandable. And you've got a little dent here at the back on that fender. And you've got, at some point, the boot lid was frayed. So it's a slightly different blue. But it's only the surface of the boot lid. So there it hasn't been sprayed, and there it obviously hasn't been sprayed, just there. So it's almost as if somebody had put something on it and had scratched it. And the other thing I saw was this little mark over here. There's a mark somewhere here, a little scratch that has been touched up. But beyond that, what a beautiful car. It drives like new. It fires up instantly. I'll open the bonnet just now and show you what that looks like. But let's get in and just fire it up. Let's see here. At some point it seems like that combination gauge has been swapped out. You can see a different color needles. And I'm not convinced it should have the economy gauge. I think that was deleted from 90 onwards or 89 onwards. So yeah, that's been swapped out. Not uncommon. Sometimes the temperature gauges fail, sometimes the oil pressure gauge or something like that fails. So we as a business actually sell a lot of those, so we'll replace that. But yeah, let me fire it up. Let's see what it does. Okay, so on with the ignition. There we go. Ice cold. Fires up. I haven't started it since yesterday. And revs beautifully, revs nicely and cleanly. There's no hesitation at all, not a puff of smoke, nothing. It really runs like a car that's done under 100,000 Ks. Let me open up the bonnet and I'll show you how clean the engine is. And we've done nothing to it. We haven't cleaned it or anything. Even the steering, I mean, look at the steering. So that's amazing. I often see cars with relatively low mileage with the steering a lot smoother than this. And this has done 378,000. So let's have a look here. So open this up. turn it off because the sound's obviously amplified in the video. Let's turn it off. I'll show you over there quickly. There we go. Really nice and clean. And it's as we received it. As I said, we haven't done anything. Doesn't look like it's ever been on a gravel road. Not a spot of rust anywhere. The original toolkit is still there. The original medical kit is still there. All the service books are there. And every service has been recorded in the service books. The original Becker, as I say. And nothing underneath. Bone dry. It's been parked here since yesterday. So a car that's been properly maintained with 378,000 Ks on. Still has the tow hitch cover in place. Still has the original hubcaps, all four of them in place. A really magnificent car. Really magnificent car. And now on the other side, we have this 94, 95, I think it's a 94 E200. Okay, to be fair, this has been standing here for the last 2-3 weeks. I'm waiting to get it into my warehouse. We just haven't had space at the moment. So it has been here. So it is a bit dirty. It is covered in leaves. It does look better than this, but it does have a dent there. Let me just find some keys. I'm going to bring them out. Let's have a look. And to be fair, this is, as I say, been sitting here for a while. Central locking still works. But look at the general condition. Look at the seats. Look at the reef lining. Look at the sun visor clips. Still has the original Becker. 187,000 Ks. It had the same hubcaps as the other one. They had been stolen. So when we bought the car and it had the steel rims on, I just put these on because the steel rims didn't have great tires. These are off that 210 that I'm currently stripping. They're not going to stay on this car. I've got the original rims for it, the original Loys that I'm going to put on with new tires. But yeah, just gives you an idea of what a little bit of maintenance. There's some rust coming through over here. A bit of rust on top there. Just gives you an idea the difference that regular maintenance and careful ownership makes on a car. This car does drive beautifully. I bought it out in Newton Hague and I drove it through with absolutely no hassle at all. I say that, no hassle at all. The lady selling it to me did tell me that the reverse doesn't work when it's hot. So I'm going to be putting a new gearbox in there. Apparently this particular 93, 94, 7 to 2.4 boxes had a weak point where if the car had reverse engaged while it was still rolling forward, something inside the box would snap, and that's why it does that. When it's cold, the reverse is fine, but when it's warm, it doesn't. Okay, so the car's been standing here for a couple of weeks, as I said. Let's see if it fires up. I've actually no idea. I haven't tried it all. Let's get in and see what it does. Let's see. Okay. I'll put the key in. I know this car has a problem with the temperature sensor, so it battles to idle when cold. I just need to swap it over. We fire it up. There we go. So I've got my foot on the accelerator now, just holding it there until it warms up for about 30 seconds. But it fires up instantly. It has no warning lights, and it really does drive like a car that's done 187,000 Ks. And it does have history, it does have all the spare keys, it does have the Becker. So I'm definitely going to be restoring it. Definitely. So it's getting into the warehouse later this week. Let's see if it idles now. No, not yet. So I found that you've got to keep your foot on the accelerator for about 30 seconds and it'll idle. But I'll do that sensor. Anyway, so now that I've got a bit of space in the warehouse, this will be going in this week. And I'll start working through this. We're going to do the seats. We're going to do... there's not much needed mechanically other than the gearbox. And all the windows do work. So get that dent sorted out. Get a bit of rust work done. Get the bumper replaced as well. Show the lady hit some curb or something in it. Quite a common problem with them. So it will get tidied up. But it really does illustrate my point perfectly, the two cars. So two very different 124s. One that's been looked after, properly maintained for its entire life, ends up looking like this. One that's done half the mileage, but hasn't been maintained, looks like that.